Last week, we ended our coverage of Harry and Meghan's trip to Australia, discussing Meghan's amazing wardrobe on this trip. But this week, we get to discuss her wardrobe for different reasons. Feminagra has the story, and I, of course, have opinions, so let's get started. Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be discussing an article from Feminagra that takes a look at Meghan's wardrobe and why it was great for designers and bad for the tabloids. Now, that is a mission I can get behind. But before we get into that, we had to open up with those very cute montages as well as behind-the-scene videos shared with us from Meghan Sussex herself by way of her incredible Instagram account. Again, I come to you begging you to do what's best for you if you have an Instagram and follow at Meghan. I have been enjoying getting these little peeks behind the curtain and seeing her personality and seeing their family life and the work that goes into the amazing work that they do and just how much fun they have. It's been really great to have access to that and get a chance to see that, especially considering we know how much work they put in and we know their results. They're always on the go. So it's great to see that not only is their work just part of their life, but they are living within those moments as well. They're actually having fun and they're doing what they're called to do and they're living through those experiences, not just, checking off a box. They're actually enriching their lives as well as helping the lives of many others. It's great to see that balance. And it is a wonderful example of how it can be done. Because sometimes, when you devote your work, especially to humanitarian or social work or social issues, it can be draining. And a lot of people, especially humanitarians, feel burnout or they experience burnout and they struggle with self-care because there's always something to do. There is always an issue to address. There's always things to tend to. And sometimes you can forget yourself. So when you look at people like Harry and Meghan, who not only have their humanitarian work and the work that they do on the social side, but they also have their business ventures and they also are a family unit. It's great to see how they balance that. And I love that Meghan gives us a little peek inside it. And it's a great motivator to still live life even when you are trying to enhance the lives of yourself and others. Don't forget to live and have fun and bring joy with you wherever you go, even when things are hard. So anyway, thanks for that little reminder, Meghan Sussex, by way of your incredible Instagram at Meghan. We also got their very cute welcome home. That was so cute. They had a little sign on the door and we saw all the little goodies that they brought back for Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet Diana. So it seems like they had an amazing trip. We definitely got to see the public side of that. So it was wonderful to see the behind the scenes and see that they were welcomed back with warm, welcoming arms. So today we are going to jump into this article from Feminagra. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's get started. Once again, this article is in Feminagra, written by my fave, Miss Historian, and it's titled Meghan Sussex's Australia wardrobe was good for designers and bad for the tabloids. You know that feeling when you're scrolling social media and you see the Daily Fail have a collective aneurysm over a woman wearing clothes and you just have to sit there wondering, are these people okay? Because I've been covering this beat for long enough to know that when Meghan Sussex steps out in a $70 dress, she's slumming it and disrespecting the monarchy. And when she steps out in a $7,000 dress, well, then she's a vulgar spendthrift who doesn't understand the common people. There is no sweet spot. There never has been, and frankly, that's the point. But the latest freak out, quote, coverage over Meghan's 4-day Australia trip might actually be the most transparently ridiculous yet. So buckle up because we're about to do something the British tabloids seem incapable of. Tell the truth about what actually happened. Miss Historian, ma'am. First of all, I haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes, and I've been holding back a laugh this whole time because I love the way that she literally just makes fun of them while reporting the news. But no, it's funny, but it's also really sad. But I love that she just has the guts to just call it out and call it what it is. I know they cannot stand her. Good. Who wants to be liked by the Daily Fail? Let me save you some time. The Daily Fail wants you to believe that Meghan Sussex touched down in Australia and promptly dropped $57,776, or that's about $74,000 for those in the US, on a wardrobe for a 4-day quasi-royal tour. Cue the outrage. Cue the comparisons to Marie Antoinette and watch the comment section fill up with people who definitely didn't read past the headline. Here's the thing. The Fail conveniently forgot to mention in that big scary number, nearly 47,000 pounds of that total came from jewelry Meghan already owned. Let me repeat that because it's important. She did not buy these things on this trip. Let's break it down, shall we? Because I love doing the Fail's homework for them. Oh, wow. The Cartier tank watch, 17,000 pounds, explicitly marked, and she's worn before. Cartier, Justin Clou necklace, 12,800 pounds, worn before. The Paps Paley pearl earrings, 8,930 pounds, worn before. Cartier Love bangle, 5,850 pounds, worn before, and appears multiple times. The Logan Hollowell ring, $1,685, pounds, and again, worn before. These previously owned pieces alone account for 47,065 pounds of the Daily Fail's headline total. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 57,776 pounds minus 47,065 pounds leaves you with about 10,711 pounds for actual new clothing and shoes across 4 days of multiple engagements. Suddenly, that vulgar spending spree looks a lot like a normal working wardrobe for a woman in the public eye doing back-to-back appearances. Also, before we continue, she spends her own money. She is not taxpayer funded. So why do they even give a damn? That's what doesn't make sense. Right now, I'm talking to y'all in a $1 t-shirt that I got. I can't even remember. It was at some activity and they were selling $1 t-shirts that would give back to their organization. And I've had it for so long. But this t-shirt literally cost me $1. It's made from recycled materials. You wouldn't know that because it doesn't change anything, because you want to know why you didn't have to pay for it. I did. If I were also sitting here in a $100 t-shirt, again, why would that concern anybody? Because no one else paid for it but me. Do you know how pissed off I would be if someone would snap photos of me leaving my home and say, oh, well, these are the $12 Amazon earrings Sharion bought 7 weeks ago, pretending they're real pearls and they're not. I would be pissed. Even though it wouldn't be for the same reasons, it's still my business. And then if they saw the Cartier tank watch that my grandmother left me and they posted that everywhere and said, well, how do you wear a $12 pair of fake pearl earrings with a Cartier tank watch, a vintage Cartier tank watch, Sharon? I would say, because it's none of your damn business. And I don't know how much my grandma paid for it. She's got more money than me. But the point is, if someone were following you as a human being, whoever is listening to this, if someone were following you around and counting how much your clothes cost, or how much your makeup cost, or how much the car you rode in cost to lease for the day, whatever they did, wouldn't you feel so violated? Because it's literally my clothes on my body. Why do you give a damn? Now, I can see if they were taxpayer funded individuals and people are like, listen, we did not give y'all money for that shit. That would make sense. But it's not. So why do you care? And you want to know the best part of all this? The things that Meghan wears, the same price range she was wearing before she became royal. This is who Meghan is. She can provide this for herself before being a royal and since. Why do y'all want her to downgrade her lifestyle just because she entered that family? Don't let them drag you down, Meghan. Keep being fabulous. They want to wear those old, stuffy, gross clothes. You let them. They want to make their subjects pay for their old, stuffy, gross clothes that are extremely overpriced and will never look in style. You let them. You keep being fabulous. You keep being great. And if you want to break the bank on whatever, honey, do it. You work hard enough to do it because it's all your money. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Anyway, that makes me mad. First of all, it just makes me so mad because, like, think about that on a basic level. We're used to discussing this because she's a public figure. But on a basic human level, the weird act of following someone around and counting their clothes is just strange. And I will even go on to say, yes, they're public figures, but Meghan was a celebrity before she was also a public figure. Like, she was also a celebrity who can maintain her lifestyle very well. Hell, she rescued a whole prince. Like, come on, mama has it. But this also bothers me because other public figures and celebrities are allowed to just show up. And we expect them to look fabulous. We expect them to know how to dress. We expect them to pay for their clothes. Although most celebrities don't pay for their clothes. They're gifted clothes or they're giving clothes because it gets the brand publicity. But we don't expect other celebrities to slum it when they go to work. Like, I've never seen anybody see Rihanna show up at anything and be like, oh my God, Rihanna, that shirt was $2,000. Do you know who you are? How dare you spend that? Spend money of your own making. How dare you? No one, because why would you? I don't see anybody saying, oh my God, Jay-Z, I saw that $12,000 jacket you put on. Who the hell do you think you are spending money you earned? Excuse you? Like, you would think they were crazy. So why aren't we collectively just looking at the Daily Fail like they're crazy? Because that's crazy to do. Meghan is a celebrity. Meghan is a public figure. Meghan makes her own money. She can spend it on whatever. If Meghan want to wear an $8,000 hair clip, mama, you do you. And I bet that'll be the most clippiest clip of all time. I hope you wear an $8,000 hair clip and do you. Meghan can wear their salary on her pinky finger. They need to leave her alone because she works for it. She can spend it. I don't see what the problem is. And again, just like the article stated, if she were to wear an $8 pair of shoes, they would be like, oh my gosh, she makes the monarchy look so bad. Oh my God. And you want to know what makes me so mad? They don't pull this card with Kate anymore. And she made it a point to say, I'm not going to be telling y'all how much I'm spending on things, but she is taxpayer funded. That should be full disclosure. That should be transparency. That should be required. You should be required to disclose what you are spending when you are spending other people's money. Go bother Kate. She spends thousands of dollars on the ugliest things I've ever seen. And the only time she looked halfway decent when she had the forethought to try to copy Meghan. My problem with her is you didn't get inspired, you copied. Why wouldn't you see the most stylish royal in your family in present day and say, you know what? I am going to let this inspire me to be my best self and dress accordingly for the day. Not, I'm going to copy her thread for thread, hairstyle for hairstyle, makeup for makeup, and then try to make that my look, and then try to boot her out, and then pay tabloids and media people to make it look like she's copying me, despite we can all see this because it happened in the public eye. And honey, we know what date this happened. We can tell time. We know what was on the calendar when Meghan wore it, and then weeks later or years later when you wore it. We're not stupid. But even worse, she was copying Meghan and then spending taxpayer money to do it. And then whatever they had to negotiate, the invisible contract, to get them to try to make her look like the originator of the look. And then when Meghan left, she went right back to doing what she was doing because it was never her to begin with. And all of this back and forth nonsense was on the taxpayer dime. Why aren't y'all pissed about that? These stupid games the people you do pay for are playing. And mind you, playing in your face, by the way. How are you going to tell me you're not going to let me know how much I'm paying for your clothes? That should have been a problem right there. I'm not going to tell y'all how much y'all are spending on my clothes, even though they're ugly. They are expensive indeed. She should have to talk about that. Why are you worried about Meghan in any capacity? Like, why does Meghan even bother you when it comes to her clothes and wardrobe? Because at the end of the day, if you weren't at the register paying for it, who gives a damn? Why don't y'all just admit that you're fans and go on? Why don't you just say, wow, she really makes this outfit look great. This outfit looks good on her. Mama got style. Just say what you really want to say. Oh, I forgot racism. My bad. Now I figured it out. My bad. Let's continue. Suddenly, that vulgar spending spree looks a lot like a normal working wardrobe for a woman in the public eye doing back to back appearances. But the fail isn't interested in honest accounting. They're interested in a narrative. And that narrative requires you to believe that Meghan walked into a boutique and said, "I'll take the Cartier display case, please." No, they really do act like Megan is just spending gobs of other people's money on her clothes. Mind you, we've seen her wear her entire Cartier stack for years. We've seen her wear her tank watches for years. We've seen most of this jewelry repeatedly. That's why the value of what MeghanWard.net is so important. That is why we talk about archives like that document this stuff, because you can go back to any day of the week Meghan has made a public appearance and see what she wore and see how much it cost. A lot of these things are reworn, but honestly, again, even if she wanted to buy new clothes every single day, if she's paying for it herself, I just genuinely don't understand why people are upset about it. Again, because it's Meghan. And then they want to debate the fact that she's been the most bullied person for the last decade. You're literally bullying her right now. You're proving her point right now. Anyway. Here's where it really gets interesting, because while the British press was busy inflating numbers and working themselves into a lather, Australian fashion insiders were saying something completely different. Elliot Garneau, is it Garneau or Garnot? A fashion commentator on Australia's The Morning Show, put it bluntly. To be honest, it's significant for any brand, but when it comes to the smaller independent designers, this genuinely can change the trajectory of their entire business. Yep, we've seen it time and again. Not, quote, "she's vulgar," not "she's monetizing tragedy," change the trajectory of their entire business. That's the difference between British tabloid coverage and the actual industry perspective. One sees a woman to destroy, the other sees a woman using her platform to spotlight local talent. And Garneau revealed something even more telling. Meghan's team was directly contacting Australian designers via Instagram DMs. Meghan was personally reaching out to small Australian brands, not the other way around. Wow. Quote, "Meghan's team has been contacting local Aussie designers on Instagram. The fact of the matter that they're reaching out purely via social media is quite iconic." Yes, I love that. Imagine being a small designer in Melbourne or Sydney, opening your DMs and seeing Meghan Sussex has messaged you. That's strategic support of local industry. And the results? Australian labels reportedly started selling out like hotcakes. I know, I was on all those websites actually. Now let's review the moment that really showed their hand. The women's shelter visit. The Daily Fail and various talking heads lost their minds because Meghan wore the same outfit to a homeless shelter that she'd worn to an earlier engagement that morning. An outfit that, yes, included some of that previously worn jewelry the Mail is still counting as fresh spending. The criticism was that she looked too expensive, that she should have changed into something cheaper, that she was tone deaf. But as Elliot Garneau pointed out, and honestly, bless him for having the courage to say it out loud, quote, "She wore the outfit that she was actually wearing to her engagement that morning. So if anything, I think it's showing a little bit of frugality from the Duchess of Sussex that she didn't do a costume change in between commitment 1 and 2. Abso-freaking-lutely. A costume change. That was an intentional choice of words, and I love that he went there. Because that's what they wanted. Some commentators wanted her to literally change clothes between a hospital visit and a shelter visit, as if the women at the shelter needed protection from the sight of a woman wearing nice things. One commentator on Sky News Australia segment put it perfectly. It would have looked condescending to the women at the shelter if Meghan didn't wear the same thing that she wore to the Royal Children's Hospital. They look for any excuse to criticize. I absolutely agree. The expectation that Meghan should dress down for vulnerable women reveals something ugly about the critics, not about Meghan. It says these women are not worth dressing up for. I was actually going to make that point. That's why I love reading these things live. I was going to make that same point, as if the women weren't worth showing up as your best self, and whatever she feels is her best self at that time, that is who should show up authentically. Meghan is a lot of things, and topping that list is authentic. She is always going to be herself at all times. They should get the bargain bin version of you, quote. How is that not the actual insult here? Exactly. But the tabloids don't care about that nuance. They care about outrage. And outrage requires stripping every situation of its actual context. She's hitting the nail right on the head. Now let's address the other thing making the fail reach for their smelling salts. OneOff. For those who haven't been following along, OneOff is an AI-powered fashion platform that allows users to shop what celebrities are wearing in real time. Meghan is an investor and participant. That is probably the best version of, or best example of alignment in business that I've ever seen. I mean, who doesn't look for Meghan's clothes? Like, that's the thing. She's known for the Meghan effect. She's known for selling out brands just by wearing them. It makes sense that she would not only be involved in something like this, but an investor. Absolutely. When people buy items she's worn through the platform's links, she receives a commission. Cue the Daily Fail shrieking about monetizing and vulgarity, and think of the Bondi victims. But here's what they're not telling you. Affiliate marketing is not new. Hell, I do affiliate marketing. Everything I wear on my other channel, I monetize because people ask me where I get my clothes. So I monetize. Like that's the norm. You can even do that directly through YouTube now. It used to be where you had to kind of go through the brand, etc. But nope, you can monetize directly through YouTube. Anything you want to, anything you see in a video, if they want to offer you the link and you buy it because you saw it in their video, they should get a commission. That's just fair. And Meghan's talked about this before. Not only were people monetizing her off of her, but a lot of people were monetizing off of things that weren't actually the items she was wearing. So having the real information is imperative to making sure the right designer gets the publicity. But also, if you saw it because of Meghan, why shouldn't she benefit from something? That doesn't make sense to me. They just want to exploit her. They cannot stand that she knows her worth. Oh my goodness, it drives them nuts that they can't take advantage of her. When people buy items she's worn through the platform's links, she receives a commission. Cue the Daily Fail shrieking about monetizing and vulgarity, and think of the Bondi victims. But here's what they're not telling you. Affiliate marketing is not new. Every time you click a tagged dress on Instagram and buy it, someone is making a commission. That's how the entire modern fashion internet works. What Meghan, a former blogger, mind you, has done is simply a more tech-forward version of something that already exists. Honestly, and this actually makes it easier to find the clothes that she's wearing and make sure you get the right item, because there's a lot of knockoffs and a lot of similar items. A lot of people try to follow trends, etc. But it's great to know exactly what she's wearing in case you want to buy exactly that. Also, if you want to buy something similar, having it recommended to you, that's so helpful. And let's be clear about something else. The 2020 transition agreement explicitly allowed Harry and Meghan to earn their own income and pursue private charitable interests. They are not taxpayer funded, and they are not taking money from the British public. Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex are self-funded individuals running a business. Yep, running multiple businesses. But try explaining that to Ingrid Seward, the royal biographer who appeared on GB News to call Meghan vile and crass for, checks notes, having a job? First of all, Ingrid, you just called Australian designers' clothes unattractive. How do you think that lands in Sydney? Second, and I cannot emphasize this enough, she hugged survivors of a terrorist attack. That was the actual human interaction. The fact that she also happened to be wearing clothes that people could buy online afterwards does not retroactively make the hug mean nothing. Again, these people are crazy. Every single person clutching their pearls about Meghan profiting from attention is themselves profiting from talking about her. The Daily Fail sells ads against every Meghan article. GB News gets ratings from every Meghan segment. Ingrid Seward gets book deals from every Meghan media manufactured controversy. But she's the one who's vile? Exactly. The irony in all of this is that the Australian fashion story was, in its own way, quite straightforward. Meghan Sussex arrived for a high-profile visit, wore a run of Australian labels, helped generate real-time interest in local designers, and folded those choices into a modern celebrity commerce ecosystem that already exists all around her. None of that is remotely shocking. What remains shocking, if anything, is how eager the British media still is to turn her getting dressed into an offense. The Daily Fail's £57,000 headline was not really about arithmetic. It was about emotional suggestion. The tabloid scorn was not really about style. It was about social punishment. The television pearl clutching over shelters and survivors was not really about decorum. It was about making Meghan look suspect in any setting she enters. That is why these stories keep coming. They are not fashion coverage in the ordinary sense. They are status discipline dressed up as style journalism. And yet, the more the press strains to make Meghan look like a symbol of excess, the more obvious the game becomes. Australians saw a woman supporting local designers and moving product. Moving product just sounds like, I guess because I listen to a lot of rap, just moving product gave me the image of like moving weight. I don't know why that word choice is just so interesting, but it's accurate. It just made me laugh. Britain saw another opportunity to run the same old script. The real scandal is not that Meghan Sussex wore expensive clothes. It is that a section of the British media still believes a woman's wardrobe is the easiest place to hide its malice. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that is Miss Historian for Feminagra. This article, as well as many others, are linked in the description box below under sources in my video. Thank you so much for watching the Sharion Sade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. While I will forever hold resentment towards the people that bully others, especially Meghan and Harry or other people who are trying to improve the world we live in, I will always hold resentment, not in my body, but just know it's there. I'm not going to hold resentment to the point that I'm feeling ill feelings or sickening myself because of you, but just know you are on my shit list. If you are bullying other people, especially people who are working to make this world a better place, please know that you're on Sharion shit list. And because I'm just so big, famous, and important, I'm sure they'll lose sleep at night. But no, I'm being sarcastic. But no, please know you're on my shit list if you're a bully, and you deserve whatever you get. And I mean that. But aside from that, aside from just being completely disgusted that this kind of thing still happens, something that I rest assured in knowing, and it just makes me feel better, is that we're fully aware that Meghan is aware, and we're fully aware that she now understands how to deal with it, and that she doesn't let them get to her. I think that's my favorite takeaway. That's the one thing that I love to remind myself, is that she doesn't allow them to get to her. And one of the best forms of revenge, if you are seeking it, is to simply ignore them. One of the best ways to make someone feel as small as they are behaving is to let them know that they don't impact your world at all. Something I've shared before is that I was the attempted or the intended victim of mass bullying in the workplace. There was a group of people who were intent on bullying me. And I still to this day don't really know why. I do know racism plays a factor. I do know that some of the people who are participating in it or trying to participate in it were doing so because they knew it gained them favor with the person they were trying to impress. And so they just went along with it. That's how a lot of mobs are formed. And so they were doing little things like throwing my lunch away and putting roaches under my desk. This all happened when I worked for a sprinkler company in Dallas. They were putting roaches under my desk. They would throw my food away in the kitchen. When we would have group lunches, anything I would talk about, they would try to be contrarians. Like, why do you want to do that? Who told you to do that? What happened? Like, I could be telling a story about, I rented a boat for my husband's birthday and you shouldn't get a boat in March. It's a bad idea. Like, they just had something to say about everything. The one thing I would always make sure to do is never let them heifers see me sweat. They could get under my skin. They could annoy me. They could do whatever the hell they wanted to do. I would call it out directly, advocate for myself, and then go right on back to my business. You were not about to see me cry. You weren't finna see me disheveled. You weren't finna see me frustrated and being like, why the hell are they so obsessed with me? What the hell is wrong with these people? What they would see is my husband sending me flowers damn near every other week, sending me Tiff's treats and cookies, coming up there to pick me up and take me out to lunch. What they would see is me driving my husband, boyfriend at the time's very expensive car, parking in the parking lot, living life. What they would see is my very nice clothes and my hair done every day and my makeup done. And they would follow me on social media and they would see me going out and partying and having fun and going to restaurants. And when I would come to work, whenever they would try that bullshit, I would make them feel as insignificant and small as they were by giving them nothing. You won't get my energy at all. That was the best revenge, because at first I was trying to figure it out. I was like, oh my God, do we have a problem? Is something wrong? When I would try to advocate and I would try to open the space for communication and problem solve. Oh no, nothing's wrong. But you're being short and weird with me. Y'all are having private meetings without me while we're at work. Like little petty things that's a lot for 3 years of 6 to 7 or 5 to 6 people doing that to you. That is a lot. That could really hurt at some point. But I was always mindful that they were insignificant, and for them to be putting this much energy into a customer service job and trying to create a mean girl environment at a customer service call center, I had to pause, and before it even got to me in my soul, I had to say, girl, This is all they have. Not that type of job isn't important. That type of job is very important. None of it includes being a mean girl, though. And if this is your opportunity to finally sit at the popular table, sweetheart, I wish you well. And that's what it really boiled down to, is like, oh, I get it. They never got to be popular. So now they want an opportunity to be, oh. And I actually had like a level of compassion where, no, I didn't self-abandon, but I had a level of compassion where I could see how small they were. And I wasn't dealing with 5 to 6 grown-ass women. I was dealing with 5 to 6 middle schoolers and early freshmen, early high schoolers. I was looking at them for what they were. I probably looked like their bully. Like, to be fair, I've actually gotten that a few times where people have said I look like somebody they know or look like somebody who had an attitude, or people have excuse to dislike you if they just want to dislike you. And so once it dawned on me that they felt small, so they wanted to try to make me feel small. They were comparing themselves to me and they wanted to feel important by putting me in my place. And when I refused to acquiesce, when I let them know, child, this is just a pit stop for me. This is some shit I do just to earn extra money. I don't pay for my life. Like, what are you talking about? Do you know who my boyfriend is? And then, of course, he later became my husband. I'm like, child, this is nothing to me. This is just something to do to pass the time because I don't want to not be working. This is not my life. And I kind of had to show it, not say it. And every time I showed up to work and let them know they did not matter, and my friends would come up and have lunch with me, I didn't have to sit with them when they were trying to exclude me. I would go out to lunch and have fun, come back with my little leftovers. And again, this isn't even my personality. I like having fun. I like meeting people. I like getting to know people. But when someone intends to try to make me feel small, that is when you will get, and I mean this with a wink, the best version of me. Because I'm always happy to let people know, oh, I was taught to stand alone as a kid. My mom was totally fine teaching me to play by myself and have fun by myself. That way I never run up behind a mob trying to fit in. I'm always going to be me. And that in and of itself is my gift to myself. I get to come back and be me. And that's why when I see people getting bullied, I have to say something. When I see that same tactic being applied elsewhere, I have to say something. Because do you know how small you have to be to try to bully somebody? Mind you, this was 10 years ago, and I'm sharing this on about 5 to 6 women. Because one of them was an alternate. Sometimes she was cool, sometimes she wasn't, child. But once you're on my shit list, that's where you are. But I'm talking about 5 to 6 people in a close environment. I'm not talking about the world. Like, that is why I keep reiterating it, because things happen for a certain length of time. It can become normalized and we can become desensitized to the idea of a mass attack by millions of people. Actually, it's not millions of people. It's thousands of people. Not nearly as many people hate Meghan as they want you to believe. It's a lot of people with a lot of fake ass accounts who are making it look like it's way more people that dislike Meghan than actually do. A lot of people are inspired by Meghan. Meghan simply living her life is a wonderful example of how you just knowing who you are can piss other people off because they want you to be small. And because she refuses to be small, she refuses to portray this meek, shallow, wannabe, thirsty for attention person like they get with the other one. They want her to be that. They want her to crawl, beg, plead, borrow, and steal for somebody to give her attention. And she doesn't have to because she was already made when she got here. Y'all know my favorite Jay-Z quote, "You was who you was before you got here." No matter what they do or say about her, no matter what that woman wears, just like Feminagra said, whether it's an $8 pair of shoes or a $7,000 dress, it doesn't make her. And the reason the clothes sell out is because she makes the clothes. The reason people want to buy them is because, one, they're nice and high quality and probably sustainable and eco-friendly. We know her standards. But the reason people see them and want to buy them is because she wore them, not the other way around. The clothes don't make Meghan. Meghan makes the clothes. Meghan makes the watch. Meghan makes the earrings. Meghan makes the lipstick. Meghan makes the shoes. Whatever she has on her body, the moment people see her wearing it and want to go buy it, there's your validation right there. She doesn't have to dress up to get attention. She doesn't have to dress up to validate herself or prove anything to any damn body. She can rock a $5 t-shirt, which we saw her wear, or a $500,000, or please don't pay $500,000 for a dress, but she could rock a $500,000 dress and look just as great in either or, because it's about her. And because mama makes her own money, she can do what the hell she wants with it. That doesn't make sense to me. That makes zero sense to me of being concerned with that woman wears or buys with her money. First of all, half the time, these same people are dying for us to believe that Meghan and Harry are broke. They will do anything for us to believe that, oh, they don't have any money, they're broke, it's all a facade. But then they turn around and say, oh my God, look how much money they're spending. They're rich, they're vile, they're a bunch of out of touch, rich old fogies. Which is it? Two things can be true at once, but those two things can't be true at once. They can't be egregious, rich, out of touch people and also broke trying to make ends meet. They can't. There's just two opposing views. So which is it? Which narrative are we running with today? There's a reason your nickname is the Daily Fail, because you failed to convince anyone of your bullshit. We see you for exactly who you are. So if Meghan wants to wear a $7,000 dress, mama, be my guest. Just like the article said, if she were to have changed clothes from one event to the next to downgrade her look, it would have looked condescending. And also, she was going to a women's shelter. Everybody knows women love clothes. That was the place to truly show up and show out, and she did just that. She was also frugal by wearing the same outfit to two different events. That is a conscious person right there. They won't be happy until she turns into that other one, who's just desperate for some kind of pat on the head from the media. And when they turn on her ass, look how it turns her every way but a loose, because her whole existence is based on the validation of strangers and her weird, bald-headed ass husband. That fate won't befall Meghan because she showed up whole. She showed up who she already is and who she's already going to be. You don't get to determine that woman's path or her worth. And it kills you inside that a Black woman told you no. A Black woman said, oh, that falls below my standard. Because you've probably grown up with the belief that you shouldn't have a standard. You're just a Black woman. Ask me how I know. They can't stand when they can't validate you. They cannot stand that they can't make you. What makes you breaks you. And I always tell people, you tell the world who you are and you live in that every damn day, because the moment you let the world make you, it will absolutely break you and work overtime to do so. You never give your power away. I don't give a shit if you got to cry in your car. You never give your power away. You advocate for yourself even when your voice trembles, even when that shit is scary, even when you're like, okay, if I speak up right now from this violation, I might get fired. Baby, that's what lawyers are for. Speak up. Say what you got to say, because the last thing you want to do is give permission to people to abuse and harm you. You stand up for yourself. I remember one time my mom was telling me about she had her first fight at school. And she was telling me like she knew she could fight because my mama's scrappy as hell. But she was like, I always just assumed I could fight, but I never really just had a real fight. I'd always been tussling with my cousins, but I just never really was going there with nobody. She said, and this one little girl at school just kept pressing her because she looked like she couldn't fight. My mom was such a pretty woman, but she was such a cute little girl, two little pigtails, long and curly and sweet. Like she probably did just look like a little sweetheart. And my mom is friendly. So she was probably walking up to people, shaking hands like, hi, let me, get nice to know you. My name is Lanisa. Like, that's just who she is, just sweet and friendly. But she said one girl had just never liked her. She went over to say hello to her. The girl was mean to her, blah, blah. It was always something. And so one day, I don't remember what happened, but the girl hit her or pushed her. And the way my mom described fighting her, she was like, I just had one decision to make. She said, I knew if someone hurts me, I'm going to hurt them back and I'm not going to stop until I hurt them for real. She said, I knew that much. She said, but I also knew there was no place in my body for fear, because if I'm going to get my ass beat, I'm going to get my ass beat anyway. Why be scared of it? She said, I'm going to hurt you all the way down. You're going to have to kill me before this fight is over. And thankfully, they didn't have to kill her. She won her little fight. The point of that is, when she mentioned they're going to do it anyway, why feel fear? Why feel fear? Fight back, because whatever they're doing, acquiescing to it isn't going to stop. It's only going to give them permission to keep going. So even when you're scared, even when you're uncomfortable, even when stuff just feels too big for you, fight back, advocate, self-regulate, and stand up for yourself all the time, no matter what. Don't you dare self-abandon, because whether or not you're afraid, they're still going to try to harm you. So fight all the way down. Fight all the way down. I remember my mom saying if I got beat up, they were going to be beat up too. She was like, I might be down. I might be the last to get up, but you're going to be beat up too. I'm gouging eyes. I'm kicking you in the face. I'm trying to hurt you. And I mean that metaphorically. When people are trying to bring you, or physically, whatever's going on in your world, people are trying to bring you down, don't feel fear. And even if you do, let that shit process and go through your body, because they're just human, just like you. And if somebody is trying to bully you or harm you or hurt your feelings, stand up for yourself, because being afraid and shutting down and being scared and not responding and not self-advocating, and when you allow other people to walk all over you, Being quiet about it isn't going to change anything. Sometimes you just have to go there. And sometimes we just have to ask for a little forgiveness. But either way, the last person you ever want to harm, the last person you ever want to abandon, the last person you ever want to give up on or not advocate for is yourself. You are all you really have in this world. And when people can walk all over you, they will. So even if you feel a little afraid, stand up for yourself. That's the problem. They can't stand that Meghan stood up for herself, because a lot of these people making up these narratives about Meghan and saying this stuff about Meghan, they would have killed to be in her shoes. They would have killed to have the opportunity to lick the boot of the monarchy. They would have done anything the monarchy told them to do, because that would have validated them. That would have made them who they are. That would have validated their entire existence. Meghan knew who she was before she got there, and she knew what would and would not work for her. And operating with a real value system, having standards, and having the strength of character that Meghan has, working in operating in an environment like that wasn't going to work long term anyway, because those people are horrible people. And we have continued to see that over and over again. Whether they exited when they did or ended up exiting later, we know they would have ended up leaving. That wasn't a sustainable environment for good-hearted people. While I hate the route it had to go, I love that they are free like they are right now, because they deserve it. I think that's the best thing about it. The life they have is the life they deserve. You rarely see the good guy win. I think that's why a lot of people have attached their story as well, in addition to all the other reasons. You rarely see the good guy win. And in this case, we saw the good guy and saw the good gal win. Isn't it great? Isn't it grand? And for the people who hate on that, we see you. You're just as small as the way you're behaving. And I hope Meghan continues to pay you dust, royal dust, because it's going to be royal regardless. Anyway, those are my long-winded thoughts. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share so that more people can find us. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.